48 hours. 48 hours. A lot can change in just as little as 48 hours. In fact, 48 hours ago, I read a comment. I also received a question I want to bring you guys an answer to, or a few answers to a few questions. And if you guys recall, just 48 hours ago, a few days ago, we were wearing hoodies, long pants, Patagonia jackets, North Face beanies. It was cold. I bring you guys back to where we were yesterday. Maybe yesterday, depending on when I upload this video. But I want to share with you guys some really important information, particularly for those who possibly are going to be receiving or have already received some very important letters and notices from the Social Security Administration and or the IRS, folks. These are some important notifications that are coming in the mail that you're not going to want to lose and you're not going to want to throw away, as well as 7 big changes that are coming to Social Security. So please stay tuned, because I've got a lot that I want to share with you guys today, as well as hopefully you guys enjoying the beautiful scenery that we have available to us today, courtesy of the beach, the sun, this beautiful world that we live in. And all of this is made possible thanks to the one and only. Please like and subscribe. And folks, I'd like to say that if you are concerned about your 401k, if you're concerned about your IRAs in this economic storm that we are currently in, concerned about the economic storm and how your IRA and 401k will fare during these turbulent times, top experts are predicting now is the time to be protecting your assets with physical gold and silver. Find out why Genesis Gold Group is the #1 recommended company by your favorite preppers and homestead channels. Receive Genesis Gold Group's free definitive gold guide today. Give them a call at 1-800-200-GOLD. That's 1-800-200-4653. I'll be sure to link their information in the description below. You can check them out online at www.genesisgoldgroup.com. And you guys may be able to tell that today I have completely different attire on. Yeah, this goes into, plays into what I was telling you guys about as far as the changes that could occur in as little as 48 hours. This is the Florida weather that I have to get used to, or maybe it's just worldwide weather that we'll have to get used to now. As some would say, some of these are natural occurrences and others perhaps maybe are man-made, manufactured. The weather, that is. But folks, I want to bring you guys important updates about 7 changes to Social Security in 2023 that I think a lot of you are going to be wanting to know more about, particularly from what beneficiaries are paid monthly to what workers could owe in payroll tax. Big changes are on the way for America's top retirement program, and the possibility of its continued access and funding in the future. We got a lot to talk about. Number 1, beneficiaries will receive their largest raise in 41 years. And it says here that the cost of living adjustment, the COLA for 2023, which is the Social Security's largest increase in decades, 8.7%, designed to adjust benefits to match the prevailing inflation rate as determined by the Consumer Price Index, the CPI. Now, I have my opinion. I'm sure we all have our own opinions on these adjustments, how well they'll actually help people keep up with inflation, and also the accuracy of these reports where they're getting these numbers. High earning workers will have to open their wallets a bit wider, folks. It's not just beneficiaries who are impacted by Social Security's annual changes. High earning workers are going to be on the line for more taxable income in 2023. And it says here, the rich are getting richer thanks to a beefier maximum payout. You guys need to check out Squirrel Tribe's video that she put up from this morning. She spent some time down here at the beach. I think she was a little bit further west. And she made a point to point out these expensive beachfront condos and homes, their pricing, how much it would cost per night to stay, and ultimately how unaffordable it is for most people to even consider it, whereas some of these nightly rates are going to top what more than what people earn in a week. Some more than what they earn in a month. The bar to qualify for Social Security benefits is moving up. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but this is news nonetheless. And what's most important is that we understand and identify so that we can begin to prepare and or continue to prepare. So not to be caught off guard, blindsided by these changes, abrupt changes, interruptions, terminations and cancellations, reductions to the system, to the payouts, to the checks and direct deposits that many millions of people rely on day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Retirees are likely to see their tax liabilities swell. I don't want to make any broad generalizations and assumptions, folks, but it seems as though these are all strikes against the program, pushing to eliminate it and or provoke people to avoid it. Granted, these are dollars, these are tax dollars, these are funds that have been put in based on the time served, hours worked, taxes paid, rightfully yours. But with all that's going on, in addition to reckless and continuously reckless government spending, odds are these funds will not be made available, at least not to what a lot of folks hope for and plan for based on past iterations of the program. Meanwhile, these all are hitting home. Americans, US citizens, hardworking taxpayers. A lot of this money that could be funding these programs, should be funding these programs, are actually the dollars are being sent overseas to support conflict in other countries, not ours. Yeah, some will toss around the misnomer, the nomenclature of allies. I get it. It almost seems like we should be allies with equals. You know, if we were to be in a jam as we barrel towards this debt ceiling crisis that the Treasury, Janet Yellen, Congress, the Biden administration is all, in my opinion, not prepared for. If we needed help, who's going to help us? I don't mean to laugh. It's not really funny. But it's like, if we needed help, who's going to help us? You think the Ukraine's going to come over here and come help us? How? How can it even be possible? I'd be like somebody who you know is broke, doesn't have a job, comes to you and asks and says, hey, can I borrow some money? I'll pay you back. It would behoove you to know and understand and realize that they can't, okay? Whatever it is that you have given to them is just that, a gift. I wouldn't expect anything in return. So, Mr. Kevin, if they stop Social Security, I will not have any income. Unfortunately, I depend on Social Security. What will I and millions of other folks do? Food, housing, Medicare, etc. How? I have faith God will handle it His way. It's just concerning is all. Be blessed, be safe, be loved. No different than when they gave that ridiculous amount of money for unemployment. It's sad, but many should not depend on the government. They shouldn't have gotten used to the extra benefits. They should have known it wasn't going to last. Just like the darkness we are experiencing now with everything we have to go through. And here's a good one. Why don't they cut Congress's pay? Why are they threatening Social Security? I doubt anyone is threatening Social Security in reply. It is always the scare tactic to get everyone to vote for more spending. Don't fall for it. Call your reps and tell them to cut spending, especially to Ukraine. Well, this got me thinking. How long will Social Security last? Now, before I answer that question, I want to go back to the first comment that if they... Sorry about that, guys. We had an abrupt change of scenery here. Apparently, the GoPro got too hot out there in the sun. So, we're now in the comfort of the air-conditioned environment. Hopefully, this thing won't get too hot. I'm going to turn the DJI mic back on to sync the audio so we can continue this test. And yeah, so I want to talk about this first comment. Mr. Kevin, if they stop Social Security, I will not have any income. Unfortunately, I depend on Social Security. What will I and millions of other folks do? Food, housing, Medicare, etc. Well, folks, what you will do is all going to be dependent upon your particular situation and your capabilities. I will, however, provide you with some possible ideas. And if you guys want me to go into great detail, just let me know, comment down below, and I can make dedicated videos on these topics. Sadly, though, I think this is the beginning of the end of the program. And yeah, people are going to have to start figuring out an alternative means an alternative solution. And the other comment stating that no different than when they gave the ridiculous amount of money for unemployment. It's sad, but many should not depend on the government. They shouldn't have gotten used to the extra benefits. They should have known it wasn't going to last. As far as the time frame and the viability of the longevity of the program, that's one thing. But as far as using the extra money, the extra benefits, like I was saying, these numbers where they generate and calculate these CPIs and these consumer price indexes and determine the inflation rate, and ultimately the cost of living adjustment, the COLA increase, which is retroactive based on past inflation, not future projections, which are all insanely inaccurate. It's not enough really for people to use in a way of which they're going to get ahead. I just want to put that out there. Why doesn't Congress cut their pay? Why are they threatening Social Security? Because they're wasteful and they're greedy, and they have no concern for anybody's well-being besides their own and their own personal agendas. But at the same time, even if Congress were to cut their pay, it would be laughable in comparison to how much money these lawmakers and politicians actually spend. Billions, if not trillions of dollars left and right, day after day, in these grossly misused and abused spending bills and packages, with dangling carrots of possible stimulus checks and assistance and aid for the people, some form of allotment, whether it be food stamps, EBT, rent assistance, government programs. They're all smoke and mirrors, folks. You can get what you can if you can, but they're not going to last long, and odds are they're going to try to take back more than they ever gave you. Which, led me to do a little bit of research and answer the question that has been asked, and which is, how long will Social Security last? And I can't necessarily give a definitive answer, but I can give you an answer. And that is that the long-term financial status of Social Security is uncertain. And according to the 2020 Social Security Trustees Report, the program's long-term financial shortfall is projected to begin in the year 2035, at which point the program's trust fund will be exhausted. After that, the program will only be able to pay out benefits from the payroll taxes being collected at that time. However, it is important to note that the trustees' projections are based on a number of assumptions about future economic, demographic, and programmatic developments, and actual future events may differ from those assumed. Which is something that I said on a regular basis. And I don't mean to get distracted, but holy cow, this dog is huge. It almost looks like a husky, but I don't know what kind of dog that is, but that thing it's like a wolf. It's crazy. But like I've said in the past, folks, whatever projections they give us are inaccurate at best. And a projection like that, as far as how long Social Security should or could possibly last, I would assume it will be exhausted well before the year 2035. And this brings me to my next point. The burden of shelter, housing, rent, necessities, essentials, basics, food, water, sustenance. Folks, we know that a food shortage scenario is likely for the reasons of diesel fuel costs and diesel fuel availability, as well as fertilizer shortages, grain shortages, chicken feed shortages, transportation disruptions as far as rail goes, and providing the food necessary for these farmers and their inputs in certain parts of the country, as well as other impacts globally around the world. But to bring you guys a little bit more information about some of the other struggles that we will face in addition to that, and that will potentially hit certain stores and certain people and certain demographics and certain neighborhoods sooner than others, the FTC targets retail giants with 1930s antitrust law. Now, this is extremely important. And this comment actually really speaks volumes, because it says they won't stop. The SNAP program people should have prepared when they had no, they won't stop, folks. They're not going to stop, okay? And again, the SNAP programs and these benefits, they're very minute. If anybody would feel free, comment down below and just share for everyone else to see how much, and or should I say how little, they provide in benefits to try to feed you, let alone a family of 2, 3, 4, 5, or even more. But like I said, I did want to provide you guys with some options, possible scenarios, and we know, at least I know, perhaps maybe you have heard, if not, this will be a first, but Microsoft wants to put Chat GPT style AI tools in every product. Now that is a little bit of alarming. Chat GPT took the internet by storm, folks. However, it is an evolution. It is a path that we're going down. You can either get with it or you can get left behind. With that being said, I do think that Chat GPT and other AI technology could potentially help some folks out there on low income, fixed income, Social Security, disability, SSA, SSI, SSDI, and other government stimulus programs and allotment programs could potentially leverage Chat GPT AI technology in a way that would allow them a greater ability to earn, which is going to be very important as we see these programs getting wiped out, okay? Now, most importantly, the food and the price of the food, because that's what it's going to come down to, folks. Now, granted, there's a variety of other assaults and attacks that are hitting people's wallets and their paychecks and their personal balance sheets and at home, much like Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said, pain will be felt by businesses and families. Now we're projecting, or they're projecting, 2 million jobs lost, an unemployment rate of over 5.25%. Food is going to be one of those weapons used against the people. Not so much for the lack thereof, which that will actually happen. But you know, we can see the retailers are already remodeling their stores so that the shelves appear less empty and more full. But the shortages are going to come from the fact that people will not be able to fill their own pantries at home. They will experience food shortages at home for the fact that they can't afford them, on top of every other expense, on top of other reductions of their income and supplements to their income, like food stamps, like Social Security. The National Grocer Association, composed mostly of rural and urban American businesses, has been pushing the Biden administration to get tougher on suppliers and their big box counterparts. R.F. Bush, a small grocer in South Dakota, told Bloomberg he has to pay $6.30 for a box of Cheerios, while Walmart buys the same item for $4.78. Now, folks, we're all aware of, bulk buying, volume discounts. We get it. This is why so many people have membership at Costco and Sam's Club and BJ's Wholesale. It's why it's more advantageous to buy cases of water and cases of drinks opposed to the single serve that you'll find at a grocery store shopping aisle refrigerator end cap, more than likely at the self-checkout station, because most of these grocery stores are moving to self-checkout. But perhaps maybe this smaller South Dakota grocery store still employs and utilizes the traditional checkout method. This is no different, as Walmart definitely does have the buying power to drive down their cost. But there's a lot going on here, one of which being the fact that the higher costs are going to come to the smaller towns, the lesser population, less dense populated areas that are more than likely already fighting tooth and nail for every dollar that they have, as well as, if we look at it from a standpoint of, well, if Walmart can get it for less, they'll sell it for less. But odds are they're probably not. Odds are they're doing all they can to make sure they maintain a slight competitive edge on the competition, perhaps maybe even charging more in some instances and circumstances due to convenience, and thus passing this on to the customer and just further increasing their net income, their revenues, their profits. Why is this so important? Well, it's so important because if we see a huge reduction to Social Security, if we see a huge reduction to food stamps, if we see a huge reduction to EBT, SNAP, supplemental nutrition program, if we see this debt ceiling crisis go further and actually disrupt these programs, if Janet Yellen, if the Treasury, if the Fed, if the Biden presidential administration can't get this under control, this is not going to be good. On top of, we've got stores out there that could potentially offer lower, more competitive prices to help people in the meantime, and they're not. So these old laws that are years old, we're seeing here these antitrust laws from 1930s, and what could possibly happen would be Walmart prices could be passed on to others, or Walmart's prices could be raised to match everybody else's. We'll have to see how that one plays out. But in the meantime, folks, I would highly encourage folks to do all they can to be as frugal as possible. Again, try to earn as much money as you can. Try to save or not spend more than you make. Try to budget as best you can. Tight budgets and knowing what's coming in, what's going out. Eliminate high interest debt that's just chipping away at any dollars that you could possibly save, and then move towards savings and investing, because the more you have, the better, especially moving forward with the uncertainties of these programs and programs like it, coupled with the uncertainties of the pricing, coupled with the uncertainties of what Congress and our elected officials in Washington could possibly surprise us with next. It's always going to be better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. If you guys would like me to go into greater detail on perhaps maybe several ways that this could be accomplished for you, friends, family, whomever, just drop a comment down below and let me know, and I'll be sure to make those videos for you guys if there's enough interest. Until next time, you guys take care, be safe. I'll see you. Bye.